Te mea tūtahi, kei te atua. Nara eiti maha, nā mea katoa. Nā mena whenua o te rohi, tēnā koutou. Nā rangakana, nā koroa, nā kuia, nā tangata katoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. It's a pleasure to stand here before you today and to actually just think about what's happened over the last 4 years and our third symposium, which we're now moving into, and just to give you an idea of what's going forward, but also to remind you of some of the things which you should be thinking about as we go through this symposium over the next 2 days. We've achieved a lot over that 4-year period. There have been 7 waves of investment which enabled 141 entities to champion the whānau ora approach. 51 whānau ora navigators are now working across 29 host agencies throughout Te Waipunamu. We have pioneered the Hothouse Dragon's Den. We have introduced an accelerator program. We have undertaken several leadership succession hui. We have consulted with over 800 whānau members in 14 hui related to Tūponoa and to Mahaka a Te Whānau. We have also engaged with Oranga Tamariki and brought together South Island expertise around suicide prevention. Our role as the GPL board is to support the innovation and enduring success of whānau ora in Te Waipunamu and to ensure that Helen and her team have the support and the resources that they need to actually help you achieve what you want to do for whānau. Over the last year, we carried out a comprehensive review because we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was achieving the aims and objectives which you had for whānau ora in the Te Waipunamu. So we had an independent assessment panel comprising of Dame Tariana, Dr. Lorraine Eade and Malcolm Morrison. And before I just pass on to the next part, I just want to thank them for the fantastic job that assessment panel does, the hours they put into it, and the time and effort and the thought which they put into all the initiatives which come before them. So thank you for that role with which you do. The review of the evaluation model was undertaken by Ihi Evaluation, and they indicated 7 indicators of success for initiatives which we have funded over the years. And I'd just like you to think about these as you go through the next 2 days to remind yourself of them. The first one was a strong social entrepreneurship and leadership. The initiatives that were most successful were those that had the ability to be flexible rather than fixed about what works and to learn quickly from their innovation as they went. There will be mistakes. Learn from those. Pick yourself up, go forward to the next one. The second one was actively building upon their capability. It showed that initiatives were successful that involved capability building activities, particularly around enterprise knowledge and marketing. Those entities who attended our accelerator program and had access to whānau coaches were better equipped to plan for the future. The third one was creating and using their own networks. Successful initiatives built upon a system of support around them, including whānau, friends and community groups, were the most successful. Some of those initiatives utilised their own networks to create a bridge between social service providers and the whānau which they were working for. Fourth one was seeking opportunities for sustainability. Thriving initiatives were constantly seeking opportunities to build their resource capability. For some initiatives, this meant seeking diverse funding activities or looking for opportunities to create a pathway that could create sustainable funding. The fifth one was personally invested in the program. The whānau of an effective initiatives were personally invested in their activity. They were prepared to work voluntarily over and above what one would normally expect them to do. They were passionate about the work that they were doing. In the several cases, the leaders of those initiatives made personal sacrifices to ensure that the initiative was successful. There needs to be clarity around communicating the value which you are adding from your initiative. Successful initiatives were clear about what their aspirations were, the goals that they had, and the value that they were offering to whānau. The seventh one was targeted to a particular area of need. Rather than offering a generalised support or service, the high impact initiatives which we have seen were able to identify exactly who were the whānau that they were working for and why they were working for them and what they expected to achieve for their whānau. These 7 success factors have helped us and the assessment panel to be quite agile and to adjust our commissioning model while at the same time ensuring we have some stability and continuity in approach. The last thing we want is continually changing the rules and objectives around each wave. It is therefore my privilege to announce that a new wave of funding, Wave 8, it just seems that we've been doing Wave 2 and 3, but now Wave 8, will open on the 1st of May of this year, 2018. That wave will have the longest lead time in yet. We're anticipating signing of contracts by October. The time period is important to us because so much of what we have learned is that success is all about effective preparation and enabling the right support to be put in place when your initiatives get the go-ahead to move forward. We don't want you to be then thinking about, well, how am I going to do this? We want that planning to take place when you come forward with your initiatives. The other comprehensive review we have commissioned has been our navigator workforce. All evidence reveals that the navigators are having a significant impact in Te Waipunamu, particularly for whānau with complex needs. The relationship between navigator and whānau is clearly the most important enabler for change. It was the authentic, ongoing, and as an equal, working alongside whānau. Following the evaluation of the navigator approach, the board agreed last week to a procurement strategy that extends the current contracts with some minor exceptions and resets the expectations which we have under those contracts. The board has authorised an inclusion of a CPI adjustment for all contracts, and we have asked for a minimum wage expectation for navigators to be included in those contracts. We want to ensure that our navigators are acknowledged for the vital role which they play alongside Te Pūtahitanga o Te Waipunamu is proud to be a living wage employer, and we want to ensure the same for our navigators. Finally, I want to make some concluding comments about the future planning and the nature of change. As a board, one of our biggest challenges is to keep ahead of the rapid developments that emerge, not just in policy and practice, but most importantly, in the lives of whānau. The pace of technology is such that the platform for today's business is constantly in flux. The iPhone is now 12 years old. And when Helen put that in, sort of told me to do this, I thought about it and I said, well, 40 years ago, I had my first phone, and that was the brick phone. 40 years ago, I had my first computer, and it was housed in a room about half the size of this. And I now look at what's going forward, and the expectations going forward means that we have to adapt to that and work with what is coming forward. So we need to keep that agility and the ability to be a pivot as a crucial part of our strategy. We want to change with the needs of whānau. Secondly, the impact of climate change demands that we're prepared to support whānau in a state of emergency as part of our new norm. So we have asked the team at Te Waipounamu to ensure that those emergency response plans and initiatives are in policy for us to kick off straight away if that happens. Thirdly, the generation of millennials, who make up the largest portion of the workforce, require us to keep refreshing our vision and approach to welcome new life into our structure. The rangatani and wahine, my apologies, are crucial to that, and we must listen to them because they are the future. Our conclusion is actually quite simple. Our focus must be on building a strong, flexible team and a sustainable culture to adapt at the slightest moment to an ever change in our landscape. The future will be built by people who can be creative and capable in multiple roles, who value diversity and who invest in constructive, mana-enhancing communication at all levels. To this end, I'd like to extend our most sincere gratitude to all of those who've created such a phenomenal impact in whānau ora in Te Waipounamu. Our staff, where would we be without them? My fellow directors, thank you for your support over the years. Our navigators, I'm continually astounded at the work they do along with our coaches. And of course, all of the whānau for whom Te Pūtahitanga is proud to serve. It is now my greatest pleasure that I introduce you to the woman who spearheaded this transformation many years ago, the Honourable Dame Tariana Tuia.